to Switzerland several times. It's beautiful. I was saying to Pete, we should go on a road trip.
We like road trips.
Yeah.
Some guy called over here, a doctor. He's looking for a driver. You interested?
I am not a medical doctor. I'm a musician. I'm about to embark on a concert tour in the Deep South. What other experience do you have?
Public relations.
Luckily, I ran into a friend of mine named Brian Curry, who was an actor, and I asked him what he was up to. He told me he was writing this script, and he told me the story. I was like, this is a home run. This is huge. I was just blown away by the story, and I kept thinking about it. And about 2 months later, I called him up and said, how's that coming? They hadn't started yet. So I said, well, listen, if you want, I'll write it with you. I love this. So we got together, and the three of us did it.
Tell me that don't smell good.
I've never had fried chicken in my life.
You people love the fried chicken.
You have a very narrow assessment of me, Tony.
Yeah, right? I'm good.
Son of Tony Lip, Nick Vallelonga, he's been thinking about doing this, he says, for 25 years. And he videotaped his father telling the entire story over an hour and a half, probably 20 years ago. And at that time, he also went to Don Shirley, and Don Shirley asked him not to make it until he was gone. He said, you could say whatever you want, but don't do it till I'm gone, please.
This gentleman says that I'm not permitted to dine here.
I'm afraid not.
How does he smile and shake their hands like that?
Because it takes courage to change people's hearts.
Watching the video of Tony Lip, and he was telling, he says, yeah, they gave us this book about where he spoke, I won't say what he said, where coloreds could stay or something like that. He goes, and I was like, what is that? And so we Googled it, and we found the Green Book. And I'd never heard of it. In fact, I've asked a lot of my black friends, and 9 out of 10 of them hadn't heard of it. But the older guys had, because they really stopped using it in the mid-'60s.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
After the Civil Rights Act, where supposedly everything was fixed.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Come on, get out now.
You never win with violence. You only win when you maintain your dignity.
You don't know your own people. You, Mr. Big Shot, doing concerts for rich people.
So if I'm not black enough, and if I'm not white enough, then tell me, Tony, what am I?
We're not consciously commenting on anything outside of that era, but I think you could read into, unfortunately, things haven't changed that much. I always say, things get better like they don't get better like that. They get better like this. And hopefully, every time they go down, and then they go up further, hopefully. I think right now we're in probably a downturn.
I do think, and it's affected by what our political leaders say or don't say, do or don't do about the situation. They can make it better, they can make it worse, they can encourage open, fair discourse, or they can promote conflict for their own reasons, for getting power or maintaining power. But I do think that the fact that the movie's set in 1962, in other words, in the past, makes it easier to look at some of those issues. There's no question about what happened and the way things were in 1962. What we show in the movie is not something that we made up. These are just facts. That's just the way it was. And sometimes when the movie's set in our time, people are too conflicted and in opposite camps about it, and you can't really come to well, that may be that way, that may be not. But if you're looking back a ways, sometimes it's easier to look at the present more clearly.
You will be interacting with some of the wealthiest people in the country. It is my feeling that your diction could use some finessing.
But why you breaking my balls?
Because you can do better, Mr. Vallelonga.
I ate a lot. I ate a lot of hot dogs and chicken and stew and pizza, whatever they put in front of me.
Come on, take it easy.
I prefer not to get grease on my blanket.
Ooh, I'm gonna get grease on my blanket.
That was part of the job. That was one of the descriptions that the Vallelonga family, what they said. So what is he? I mean, he's good at. They were bragging about him all the time. I guess he was the greatest dancer and the greatest singer and the greatest this and that. I said, but what was his? We can't do everything in the movie. I mean, if I have to impersonate this guy, to be accurate, what would you say his favorite things to do what was he best at and what did he most like doing? And they said eating and smoking, and sometimes smoking and sometimes eating and sometimes both at the same time. So
Yeah.
that's what we did.
What do we do about the bones?
We do this.
Pick it up, Tony.
Squirrels would eat it anyway.
Pick it up.